The year is 202 BCE. Imagine the North African sun beating down on a dusty plain. Two massive armies are facing each other. This is Zama, and a battle is about to begin. This is not just a battle, it's a clash of titans. On one side stands Hannibal, the cunning general of Carthage. On the other side stands Scipio Africanus, Rome's newest hero. The fate of two empires hangs in the balance. The Second Punic War has been raging for years. Hannibal had shocked Rome with his daring crossing of the Alps. He marched his army, complete with elephants, across the mountains. Rome was caught off guard. Hannibal won victory after victory, most famously at Cannae. This battle sent shockwaves through the Roman world. However, Rome did not break. They rallied under new leadership, determined to push back. This is where Scipio comes in. A young and ambitious general, Scipio decided to take the fight to Hannibal's doorstep. He landed his army in Africa, threatening Carthage itself. This bold move forced Hannibal to abandon his campaign in Italy. He had to rush back to defend his homeland. The stage was set for a final showdown between these two military giants. Hannibal Barca. The name still sends shivers down the spines of any student of military history. Even today he's studied in military academies worldwide. His tactical genius was undeniable. He had outmaneuvered and crushed Roman legions time and again. His victories at Trebia, Trasimene, and Cannae were masterpieces of military art. These were not just victories, they were crushing defeats. They inflicted heavy losses on the Roman army and shook the Roman Republic to its core. Hannibal's name was uttered in hushed tones in Roman households. He was a boogeyman, a force of nature. Mothers would warn their children about Hannibal, much like the Carthaginians had warned their children about the Romans. Hannibal's shadow loomed large over the battlefield of Zama. His reputation preceded him. He was a master of psychological warfare, instilling fear and doubt in the hearts of his enemies. However, Hannibal was not invincible. He was a master of battlefield tactics, but he was hampered by a lack of resources and support from Carthage. His victories in Italy had come at a cost. He had lost many men, and his supply lines were stretched thin. He was forced to rely on local allies who were not always reliable. Facing Hannibal was a young general who had learned from the master himself. Publius Cornelius Scipio, later known as Scipio Africanus, represented Rome's resilience and adaptability. He had studied Hannibal's tactics, learning from his victories and defeats. He understood the importance of discipline, adaptability, and exploiting an enemy's weakness. He was not afraid to break with tradition and try new things. This made him a dangerous opponent. Scipio had earned his fame in Hispania, modern-day Spain, capturing the Carthaginian stronghold of Carthago Nova. His victories there not only secured Rome's supply lines but also showcased his strategic brilliance. He knew the importance of logistics and morale. He made sure his troops were well supplied and well motivated. He understood that an army marches on its stomach. Scipio's arrival in Africa was a turning point in the war. He rallied Rome's allies and inflicted defeats on the Carthaginians. His victory at the Battle of the Great Plains had forced Carthage to recall Hannibal. Scipio was not just a capable general. He was also a charismatic leader who inspired his troops. His soldiers were fiercely loyal to him, and they believed in his ability to lead them to victory. The two armies met near Zama, a town in present-day Tunisia. The stage was set for a clash of arms and ideologies. It was a battle between two different military systems, two different cultures, two different ways of life. Rome, the rising republic, was pitted against Carthage, the established maritime power. Hannibal's army consisted of a diverse mix of troops. He had his veteran soldiers from Italy, hardened by years of campaigning, but he also had fresh recruits from Africa, many of whom were forced conscripts. He had a contingent of war elephants, fearsome creatures intended to break the Roman lines. But his cavalry was weak, weakened by years of war and the loss of his best horsemen. Scipio's army was equally formidable. His legions were the backbone of his force, disciplined and well-trained. He had the advantage in cavalry, bolstered by his Numidian allies led by King Massinissa. These Numidian horsemen were some of the best in the world, known for their speed and skill. Scipio had learned from Hannibal's tactics at Cannae. He knew that he had to counter the Carthaginian elephants and cavalry. Section 5. Elephants and Cavalry. The battle began with a terrifying spectacle. Hannibal's elephants charged towards the Roman lines. These massive creatures with their tusks and trunks could trample men and break formations. The ground trembled under their weight. Roman soldiers braced themselves for the impact, however Scipio was ready for them. He had anticipated this move. Scipio had instructed his men to create lanes within their formations. When the elephants charged, the Roman soldiers parted, channeling the elephants through these lanes. The elephants, confused and disoriented, ran through the gaps. They caused minimal damage. Some elephants were even driven back into the Carthaginian ranks, causing chaos and confusion. While the elephants were neutralized, a fierce cavalry battle raged on the flanks. The Roman and Numidian cavalry, under the command of Laelius and Massinissa, faced off against the Carthaginian horsemen. The Carthaginians fought bravely, but they were outmatched. The Roman cavalry, heavier and more disciplined, broke through their lines. Section 6. The Roman Trap. With the elephants dealt with and his cavalry scattered, Hannibal committed his infantry. His veteran troops, hardened by years of war, pushed against the Roman lines. The fighting was fierce and bloody, a desperate struggle for survival. The Roman legions, however, held firm. Their discipline and training paid off. Scipio had drawn Hannibal into a trap. He had deliberately weakened his center, giving the appearance of a breakthrough. Hannibal, sensing victory, committed his reserves. He pushed his veterans forward, hoping to break the Roman lines once and for all. But Scipio had been waiting for this moment. He had concealed his own veteran troops behind his front lines. As Hannibal's men advanced, weary and depleted, Scipio unleashed his reserves. The Roman veterans slammed into the Carthaginian flanks. The impact was devastating. The Carthaginian lines, already stretched thin, buckled under the onslaught. They began to waver, then break. Section 7. The Carthaginian Fall. Seeing their comrades falling back, panic spread through the Carthaginian ranks. What began as a retreat soon turned into a rout. Hannibal, surrounded by his loyal bodyguard, fought bravely, but the day was lost. He had been outmaneuvered and outfought by a worthy opponent. He knew that all was lost. He had to flee to fight another day. The Battle of Zama was a decisive victory for Rome. Carthage, once a mighty empire, was on its knees. The Roman army, led by Scipio Africanus, had proven its superiority. The Punic Wars, a series of conflicts that had spanned generations, were coming to an end. Rome was now the undisputed master of the Western Mediterranean. The Battle of Zama was more than just a military victory. It was a clash of civilizations. Rome's victory marked the beginning of a new era. It paved the way for the Roman Republic to transform into the Roman Empire, one of the most influential civilizations in human history. Section 8. The Spoils of Victory. In the aftermath of the battle, Scipio offered Carthage relatively lenient terms of surrender. He understood that a Carthaginian rebellion would be costly and time-consuming. He allowed Carthage to keep its own territory in Africa, but they had to give up their overseas possessions. Carthage also had to pay a large indemnity, crippling their economy. Rome's victory had far-reaching consequences. It secured their dominance in the Western Mediterranean. It also paved the way for their expansion into Greece and the East. Rome would go on to become a vast empire, stretching from the British Isles to the Middle East. The Battle of Zama also had a profound impact on military thinking. Scipio's victory demonstrated the importance of discipline, training, and adaptability. It showed that even the most brilliant military minds could be defeated by a well-prepared and well-led army. Section 9. Echoes of Zama. The Battle of Zama, fought over 2,000 years ago, continues to resonate today. It is a testament to the enduring power of strategic thinking, military prowess, and the human cost of conflict. It is a story of ambition, rivalry, and the clash of civilizations. The battle is a reminder that even the greatest empires can fall. It is also a reminder of the importance of learning from history. The lessons of Zama, like the lessons of all great battles, are still relevant today. They teach us about the importance of leadership, the need for adaptability, and the enduring consequences of war. The echoes of Zama still reverberate through the ages, reminding us of the enduring power